Pick Wine Wednesday. Lawrence Biscontini is actually the most interesting man in the world. Not the Dos Equis man. He lives in Mykonos. He lives in Puerto Rico. He lives in New York. He's a guru. He's a yogi. He's a speaker. He's an incredible dad to a beautiful little fur baby named Biscuit, who's right there. Hi, Biscuit.
Biscuit is here.
He knows. Lawrence is one of my all-time favorite people. We first met 4 or 5 years ago at the International Spa Association, where I was enamored with his presentation and energy. And we hit it off, drank some cocktails with our friend Petra Kolber, and we've just been inseparable ever since. So good to see you, Lawrence. How's quarantine life treating you?
I don't see this as quarantine. I see this as retreat. Everybody's using that word, but I've learned a long time ago that if you change the view from where you stood in your head, the things you view are changed for good. So what the West calls quarantine, the East has long been calling a retreat, and now's our chance. When's the last time you could say, I don't have time to do that? How cool is that? And then after the whole millennials are like, texting, can I call you? I don't do that anymore. And I have a reason. I can pick up the phone and call somebody, and that person better answer me, right?
Okay, well, let me just say, we've been on for a minute and a half, and you just dropped all the knowledge in the first minute and a half of a presentation, which is like the best practice of live video.
I can't tell you that. You think so? So can I share something with you just between us before everybody starts getting on? Just a secret. I want to tell you that I don't drink anymore.
I'm so jealous.
You're jealous of that? I don't drink anymore. But I also want to tell you, I don't drink any less either. I really wasn't going to do any April Fool's jokes. So on April 1, I just told everybody, I'm going to have a glass of wine. April Fools, I'm going to have a bottle. Hi!
I'm so happy. Cheers. I was so sad and awkward. You're hilarious. Cheers to you.
Cheers. No, my friend Roberto.
Oh my God.
You can never drink alone. So I always make sure Biscuit's really close if I'm going to open something up. And I have a crystal straw, so it purifies everything as it's coming in. No self-bite. So that's pretty cool.
Lawrence, I love you. You're the best. Oh my gosh.
I love you more.
We have Ralph and Bobby and Julie Milner and Milagros Rivera and Yuri, who should be getting on here. Bring Yuri in here. Let's get some rocket up in this piece. Oh my gosh. Well, so glad to see you. And
close.
I am delighted. Yuri says, Hola, Ralph. I am delighted that you are not drinking anymore, but not drinking any less, which is an excellent joke. And probably going to be stolen from here. We have 10 questions for the infamous Lawrence Biscontini. The very first question, everyone's dying to know, how much TP does Biscuit have in his stash?
That's a hysterical question. Absolutely none, except when I go outside, now that I don't really have any staff, the gardeners aren't coming and the handymen are not coming, I'm not picking up the lovely lawn fertilizer. I have these organic biodegradable bags, and I'm not going around anywhere picking anything up because the sun's drying it all, and the full moon is just with its beautiful rose color taking care of all of that. And that's one of my questions, which was easy to answer because I don't know where you're going to pull out the other 9. But remember, if it's a Biscuit question, it counts as one of my 10.
That's true.
Go on.
Well, Connie Martin says salute. So she's drinking. Janie from Alabama is watching. We have D. Miller, love the wine. Bernadette says, I am here. Yes, you are, Bernadette O'Brien, you Irish Catholic.
90. Dee is in Canada promoting her new cookbook. Thank you, Dee, for jumping on. Thank you, Connie. Salute. Yes. Super Betty.
Lawrence rolls in hot with a tribe, and that's why we are going to ask. Rocky Muir says hi from California and hashtag Rocky Talkie. Okay, question 2 of 10 for the ultra guru of all gurus, who I adore, Lawrence Biscontini, who rolls with seriously the biggest tribe, and I am loving everyone's enthusiasm.
The Erin
what song?
Digital Disney and the Oscars. Are you kidding? Like, how am I going to do? I coach and counsel yoga people and Pilates people, and some people call it pilots, because now it's Fashion Week and Holy Week. And Jesus stood before Pilates, and Pilates, no, pilot.
Punches Pilates. Oh, well, the best church ever. Quick segue for Catholics here. And we had some great Catholic conversations. That church in Mykonos, that little teeny church by the water, down by that bar on the way to the windmills that has like the 5 pews. What is that called? What is it?
That's San Paraportiani, and it's only open one day a year.
Oh no, that's not the one, because I wasn't there that one day, and I walked in. It's like a little church right next to like there's 3 cafes by the water, down the way from Castro's, on the way to the windmills.
Right. And the windows were blue, right?
I think so. Yes.
Nearby.
Yes.
All the buildings in Mykonos are white,
and it had like whitewashed. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, tell us. Let's see. Trisha says more Perrier. Oh, Trisha, don't be a quitter. We have Heather. Heather said it's going to be the best interview ever. I have my water too, and my water cup. Water and wine. Water into wine.
Unlike you, can I tell you, I think you are so chic, and you know that because we have just partied with the best of them like rock stars in Vegas. What happens in Vegas should happen everywhere else that people won't know. You should never drink, and I don't use the word should a lot. I'm like, don't should on me. So I try not to should on other people. What's up with your plastic? You are so pretty. Get yourself a water bottle of glass and have a crystal in it and purify and modify.
I know. Isn't this tacky? It's like so tacky.
You're on Laguna Beach.
I'm such a loser.
I know what you get paid to speak for 10 minutes in public at Disney. You know what? You're drinking out of a plastic cup. No trailer.
Oh, the shame. I'm so ashamed. Pat's laughing and making fun of me. Yuri says hi, gorgeous. Janie says hi, Yuri. Okay, well, everyone's having a great old hug fest on the chats. But so tell us, we are already off the rails here. We have 10 questions. We're only on number 2. So tell us, when you're washing your hands for 20 seconds, are you singing a song while you're washing your hands?
I'm not. I'm doing a Our Father, Hail Mary, and a Glory Be. And I've calculated by the time we're done with all this, I will have said the equivalent of 25,643 whole rosaries. I hope you're with me in this.
Jesus, Mary, and Holy St. Joseph.
And St. Anna. Yes, I do that. I do an Our Father and Hail Mary and a Glory Be. And if it's a little bit more than 20 seconds, I say them really fast. It's my fast forward version. And I made a few changes to the Our Father over the years, but I can because it's my talk with the big one, right? So I can do that, not really to shorten them, but just to make them more meaningful to me. And I wash my hands with 3 prayers. Recovering.
I love that. That's such a great way. Well, I was a recovering Catholic, but I'm kind of getting back on the train with this whole global pandemic. I've been saying a lot more of my Catholic prayers. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. You know, it's funny. I started saying my old prayers for the first time in probably 5 or 6 years from the old days. And it's amazing. Once you kind of plug back in, it's still there waiting for you. You can just kind of re-plug back in whenever you want, which is a really cool, special thing. And then you feel guilty because you're Catholic. But anyway, it has been very powerful.
Why guilty? Only if you watch the news. I'll tell you, I love that you said when you come back and plug back in, it's still there. Because I'm always thinking when people say, I found God. Well, you know what? God's not lost. Maybe you were, and you reconnected to some vibration, higher power, whatever you call that, God or Krishna or Dalai Lama or
the universe or anything. Yeah.
Vibration. Absolutely. Well, I think it's important because facts are not feelings, and you work on the news, but you then go inside and you connect to what is really important. We all have a little voice, and I don't think anyone's ever said, I connect to my little voice and I'm wrong.
Yeah. So what do you say when you plug into your inner voice in times like this? Because I know, for those of you just watching, and I know Lawrence has a huge fan club here on the chat box who know him and love him. But if you're joining us from other places and you're just getting to meet Lawrence, he's a very holistic, plugged in. He vibrates at a high level. Like when you're around him, you can feel it. And so, and he's a great drinking buddy in Vegas. But he's also a yogi and also very intentional about the thoughts he puts out to the universe. And if you follow him, findlawrence.com, I believe is your website. He has a great, is it findlawrence.com?
You can find me.
Find Lawrence. His emails are always so thought-provoking, and they just really elevate your spirits. And so I'd like to know, when you're trying to tap into your inner voice, Lawrence, whether it's when you're doing yoga or when you're just walking around your beautiful beaches outside your house, what's the first thing someone would do if they're not used to tapping into their inner voice? What's the first step they would take?
There's a line from the Bible, be still and know that I am God. So I just trust. I go still and I listen to my lower gut, my middle gut, and my higher gut tell me what's coming. And it's okay, as I was saying to a friend today, if I'm down on a day, and for every 7 lately, there'll be one of those 7 where I'm not feeling it. And I mentor and consult, so I don't show that, but I have a team Lawrence. And as long as of those 6 people, we're not all down on the same day, we can go to them. So first I go to God, be still, know that I am God, meditate, be aware of where you are. Because even if you say, I'm not Lawrence today in terms of the Lawrence ready for the Erin King show, because I have a little bit of doubt or frustration, I'm human. It's with every leader in the planet and every human being in the planet. Then I'll call my team Lawrence and say, can I tell you that I need a little dose of Roberto today? I need a little dose of Milagros today. Janie, how you doing in Alabama? Because she'll bring me right back to where I need to be because she's been out of work, for example. So relativity helps put me into where I need to be. It's just being quiet, Erin. I think sometimes if we're just quiet, we turn on our little voice if we're not disconnected or induced.
So, well, I love that. And, and Vino Veritas, by the way. But I will say that what I love about that whole entire perspective is this idea that when we are feeling anxious, when we are feeling fearful, and gosh, you know, I'm not even an anxious person at all. I've never been a worrier. I've always been, maybe I haven't been smart enough to be a worrier, but I've always been kind of, you know, in high school, they called me bubble girl because I was just kind of happy in my little bubble. And I had never experienced anxiety like I had the last month and a half. And so I always think about the people in the world right now that already had sort of a baseline of that emotion. And now they're having the gasoline poured on those flames of fear. And so I think whether you're someone with an existing anxiety condition or someone that's developing one from circumstantial facts, what you're talking about, which is going within and being still, but also filling your cup from external sources, like going to the people outside of you that can help fill that up and rejuvenate you, I think is really powerful.
Thank you for sharing your moments of anxiety and using the A word, anxiety. I really appreciate that because I think people need to hear that. Best-selling author, in demand, come out in your red, pink thing and your sneakers and rock the world. And we don't know what hit us when you're done speaking. To say that reveals your humanity. And now on a scale of 1 to 10, you're now my 57. So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. In talking about being distance or being in retreat, I don't know who started and who decided it was a great idea to follow this whole idea of social distancing. You know, we're more social than ever. So it's social connection we're getting involved in. I'm on my devices more than ever, actually. And it's physical distancing that is a necessity, not a luxury. STFH, hashtag STFH, stay the home. Right? It's physical distancing, social connection. Let's not.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lawrence Biscontini. You're going to hear the rosary and the F word all in one interview. That is the man, the myth, the legend, summed up in one sentence.
I gave the F up for Lent, but technically on Palm Sunday, it's done. And I was saying sugar, Erin. What the sugar? What the sugar did she know? Can you believe the sugar email? Stay the sugar home.
You're so sweet. Well, it's interesting. I love this. And what's I love the dichotomy that you're talking about, which is the fact that we've never been on our devices more. We've never relied on technology more. And yet so many people that I've talked to in the last month have never felt like they've had deeper, more richer dialogues with individuals. The human connection is off the chain with a lack of face-to-face contact. And how interesting is that? It's so interesting, right? I mean, you have Marilyn Sherman. It's like a priest in Fleabag. What is that? Right. I don't know. Jamie Watkins.
Whom I watched last night. If that's one of your questions, what am I streaming? But
oh yes, last night's show. Tell us, what did you watch?
I watched that guy who plays the priest in Fleabag. He's great. I'm sure you know his name. He's in with Anthony Hopkins, King Lear on Amazon Prime. And I love King Lear because I read it and revisited it when my dad died. And it's all about a man knowing he's going to leave the planet and how he wants to put his affairs in order. That's a whole other story. Back to you on physical distancing. How did we in America and around the world confuse those terms to social distancing? What? It's physical distancing that keeps us alive. Not out of fear, out of love.
I love that. That social distancing is bullshit. It's not social distancing. It's a great distinction.
My friend, you heard the B word on the Erin Gargan show. I just put that word.
Well, cheers to that. So social connection, physical distancing. We're rebranding the pandemic response.
And we're just spreading more of what you've always said, which is stay connected and how to do it, digital persuasion. I was in my mentoring group today, and they're saying how mind-blowing. Instead of saying I, when people say, what do you do in your elevator speech of 30 seconds, I quoted you, make it about you. My clients enjoy transforming, evolving, and dimensionalizing their lives when I blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden it's about them, and they're sold and they're in and they're buying, and how can I pay?
It's so good. It's so good.
I'm a personal trainer and I help people find their downward dog and flexibility. Ladies called. They want that back.
Oh my God, Lawrence, you're cracking me up. Marilyn just said she watched the whole thing of Fleabag. She said it's incredible.
I did too.
Everyone's going nuts about Fleabag. Are you watching Tiger King?
No, I didn't start it. You've asked every guest every night. I knew this question is coming.
I know.
I'm not there because on a show similar, I just asked someone what's going on, and she said, who's a yoga person, Stacey McCarthy. I just couldn't get my head around that, and I was actually repulsed and nauseous. And
well, if you're an animal lover, like we all are, if you're an animal lover, it's tough to watch. Which, you know, you're a yogi. Obviously, your bestie, you know, besides me and Yuri, is Biscuits. Obviously, you're an animal lover. I'm a vegetarian, so I get it. I mean, it was very upsetting, but it was also, it was kind of like watching a car accident where it's like you want to look away, but you just couldn't because it's so like, it's very disturbing. I don't recommend it if you're an animal lover, but if you want to understand all the memes on social media, pop over, give it a chance, you know, if you want. Okay, question number 5.
I agree. Can I just say my defense, or if it's ego or defense with that show, I need to watch it because if you don't comment on something and you don't know about it, you can't say anything. You asked me if I'm watching it and what do I think about it. I didn't answer what I think about it. I'm not watching it yet because I'm not in that headspace. I get up and my prayer is, can I be of service? And when I go to bed, I ask myself, was I of service today? Because there's so many people coming to me not in my position. I'm in a beautiful place in a quarantine and I don't have anywhere to go. I have 15 acres and I don't see another person. I'm super blessed and super grateful to continue my job in what I've been doing. But the people who are asking me, do you want to see that? I'm not ready to see that yet because I don't want something major that's going to bring me that down. But I need to be informed, I guess, and see it. I'm not saying, well, that's dead to me and my head's in the sand. I just don't think I can process that right now.
Well, that's why you're so self-aware. You're making decisions with you have a limited amount of heart space and head space that you're managing. And truthfully, in these days, we only have a certain threshold for negativity or upsetting emotions, news, documentaries, Netflix shows, whatever. And you got to be careful. You got to manage it, just like a bank account balance. Because if it goes over, you don't want to be in debt right now because it's not the right time to be in debt. We don't have a lot of leeway, you know, emotionally. So I think you're on the right track. Okay.
I think you're the preacher.
The what?
You're the preacher. You've got the wisdom. Talk about homeschooling these kids. I saw a post today where the girl said, listen, I certainly don't. She was being homeschooled. She said, I hope I don't have the same teacher next year. It's her mom. Oh my God. Poor thing, right?
Oh my God.
We are getting homeschooled by a nation of day drinkers that's going to govern us in 10 years.
Have you seen John Krasinski's Good News Network?
Today, you posted it. You're on my feed first. You don't sneeze, and I don't. Of course, you're not sneezing these days, not in public. No, but you don't say anything without my alerts going off all around this place. I'll tell you, I watched that. It was hysterical. Good news, inspirational.
So, and all the great stories from around the world and the homeschooling section with all the moms and dads drinking wine, trying to do 6th grade math. I was dying. Like, this is what the world needs. More of this. This is so good. Yeah, we have to be
intelligent, right? We have to be intelligent, educated, and super, super erudite and try to show the wisdom and the sagacity and the tenacity we have to our good society and our values.
Yeah. Well, you know what? On that note of good societal values, what is the earliest time you've started drinking during quarantine?
Well, I'll tell you this. Thank you for asking. If I start drinking any earlier, I'm going to be putting wine in my cereal. And I would like to know, do you have any good breakfast wines that you could recommend?
Breakfast wines?
Sure.
The
People
only
do mimosa and
wine-
Bloody Marys all the time. I've run out of what to put in Prosecco. I've done the cranberry. We've run out of the pomegranate juice. I've done the limoncello and my little thing from Capri, done, like so 4 weeks ago. My elderflower spritz cordial presse extract, done. What else do you put in Prosecco? Let me tell you, it's not coffee.
Those of you just joining us, we're talking about new breakfast wine ideas besides the 18 excellent creative ones that Lawrence just shared with us. Have you tried grapefruit?
Cannot have. No have.
Oh, yeah. We don't even have vegetables, so I get it. Okay, tell me, what is
you posted 2 baked potatoes. Listen, I follow you.
Those are only are potatoes vegetables? Because those are the only vegetables we have. And I ate both, by the way.
Potato's not a vegetable, you say to the host who's invited you.
I know, it's terrible. The poundemic is real, but you haven't gained weight. Your face is still skinny. You're always fit. But you know what? Thank God for
that. Poundemic. Note to self.
Oh, Lord, it is a poundemic. Justine says chocolate and wine. Connie Martin says very cold sangria. Okay. Lawrence makes the best breakfasts from his cookbook. You have a cookbook?
I do. I wrote it for my charity. It feeds the homeless and hungry. The nuns who taught me feed the homeless and hungry on the East Coast of the United States. Thank you, Connie. And when people come to me to mentor with me in Puerto Rico at my house, which is Fit Camp, Monday to Friday, we eat everything from the cookbook but 2 things, which are alcoholic.
Okay. That is so I need to buy this cookbook. Is it on Amazon or how do I get it?
It is, and there's PDF, and there's download, and there's snail mail, and there's. I'll send you one, of course. I think I've given you one at some convention. Must have gone in your swag bag.
No. I love a good cookbook. I would have looked at that because I love cookbooks. Love them.
Good to know. A white wine sangria.
Oh, talk dirty. It sounds so good. Okay, Lisa Gibson says she has an elderflower liqueur that she made with Prosecco. Yum, Lisa. Justine says smoothies mixed with vodka. It's fun. Janine says, oh my God, love the hat. Girl, it's because I'm trying to cover the grays. Breakfast wine. Lawrence is amazing. Yes, he is. Claire says #poundemic. Amen, sister. And Bobby says, I love Lawrence's cookbook, Meals and Musings. So cool.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Bobby from Chicago. Sorry?
So good. And then Elisa said, I had the Fit Camp year when Lawrence gave up drinking for Lent. Oh, you did?
I did last year. That was so last year. This year, I said, I can't do that. And then all this was going on. No. 2 things about Lent. Number 1, I gave up white wine, but because I'm not alone and the red wine is very scarce, and some of my dear friends who have a big stash haven't yet shared their wine stash, I'm drinking white out of sacrifice because some of my dear friends only drink red, number 1. And number 2, Erin, you'll appreciate this more than anyone probably on this show. Isn't it wonderful how the world has talked about 2 things more than ever? Number 1, Lent, because it's 40 days of retreat and introspection and connecting to what in your life is really important. Hello, the world is now Catholic. Number 2, Passover, which starts today, which is the passing over of the angel of death in the Old Testament. When people wouldn't listen to Moses, people's firstborns were asphyxiated. Hello. Sounds like what's going on. Pass over me and keep me alive.
You know, that's so interesting. I read that the word quarantine comes from the root, I think, because quar is 4 in Italian, or what language?
4, quattro, and also art of the matter, cuore.
Yeah, cuore. So I read that the idea of a quarantine was when the ships would come in Italy and there would be a plague on the ship and they would make them stay on the ship for 40 days, which was called a quarantine in Italian, and which is also part of Lent. So to your point, this whole weird alignment, it's very strange, isn't it?
And full moon and Passover and the retreat from senses. And what's really important, the skies are clear, the seas are getting cleaner, and the traffic issues, like how many parking tickets have been issued lately? How many burglaries? How many civil defense? How many public unrest? Not much, right? I'm not going to talk about how many people have filed for divorce online. That's a whole other.
Well, look, this is a great test of a partnership, and you really get to know your partner. Thank the Lord, knock on wood. I feel lucky that I like my partner more now than I even did before the pandemic, but I can't imagine.
You married him.
Well, well, you know how it is. It's like you're there and you are together and you're working together and living together and loving together and eating together and drinking together. And I read that China had a 60% increase in their divorce rates once they lifted the thing. Right. But so I think, the key really is just to do the best you can. And if you can have different rooms in your house, you can have your own little bit of space and come back together. That's a good trick. It just depends. So everyone that's watching this, please share with us in the comments your secret to a happy, healthy, or at least not killing each other relationship during the quarantine or the retreat, as we have rebranded it. So please share with us your secrets for healthy retreat/quarantine relationships. In the meantime, we are moving on.
And I just had a mentoring call today at noon called my Zoom at noon. And I had everybody get out a phone because Erin said, I have to give you a call to action on this call. And so I had them with their phone do something. And now you're having them do something. God bless.
So good.
You're so visionary. You are visionary. Please. That's why you're in demand and everybody wants you.
Oh, vice versa. Cheers to you. Well, Rocky says, I gave up worrying and substituted praying. Rocky, brilliant. Connie Martin says that your chicken paprikash is amazing. Oh, Lawrence is the best cook ever. Had me eating all kinds of wonderful, healthy foods. Let's see. Ralph likes your mashed potatoes. Claire
secret ingredient.
What is it?
I can't tell you. You have to get the cookbook.
Why? No, I'm making potatoes tonight. Please, just tell me. I'm making it tonight.
Because I did this for charity, if I told you just on here, you put a very small amount, depending on how much you're making, of vanilla Haagen-Dazs, that would be revealing too much. So I couldn't do that.
Vanilla Haagen-Dazs in the potatoes? Now you are a visionary. That is some visionary. Let's see. Cynthia says her secret is to tell each other you love them at least once a day and a minimum of 4 hugs. Oh, raise your hand in the chat box if you miss hugging people. Oh, I just missed a good hug.
Claire says, I still hug. He has a command of his 236 commands. He knows hug, and he comes up and he puts his hug on either side of your neck. He had to do that to get his therapy dog license, so to get into these homes around the world. Yeah,
he's not even a dog. He's a human. He is a human being. Okay, Claire says alcohol in her coffee. Rocky says alcohol. I think we have a like-minded group here. We don't hate it. Janie Watkins says she's closer to her husband. Give each other space within the home. 2 TVs. There you go. Everyone's saying, I miss hugs, and alcohol. Okay, well, we're on the same page, friends. We're all doing the best we can with what we have. Okay, here is my question to you, Lawrence. Question 7 of 10. What is your favorite social media account that you are following right now during quarantine that is making you smile?
Yours.
No, you're such a kiss up. Which one for real?
Yours. I told you, you're on my see first. And as somebody pointed out in my group, you're only allowed so many see first anymore. True. You're one of my see first because you collect these things because I live under a rock. Where I live in Puerto Rico, as my fit campers watching know, this is called La Roca. It's called the rock. I live under it and on it. I follow you because you post these wonderful things of what's going on. And my social media friends who are instructors and personal trainers in Rome, my heart goes out to them. Oh. Because Italy is just the place of it all, right? Although we say it's China, but the first Western place where got the world attention and wake up was Italy. And all my friends are hungry and comfortable. And to be hungry and comfortable is a whole other thing. And we're seeing their posts where the Italians go outside and they're singing opera. I hope you've seen this on their Facebook feeds and on their channel. Go to them. It's the individuals now. Sorry? No?
I said to our friends, we'll post the link if you haven't seen what Lawrence is talking about. It's so beautiful. Sorry, go ahead.
All that and Asia, how Asia, it's coming full circle. Just today, the Prime Minister of Japan announced that all gyms and public spaces would be closed, which is so curious to me to go from China to the West, back to the East. And today is that quarantine in effect. But there are still some 50 states where there's not a mandatory quarantine. That's not a political statement. It's a fact.
Yeah. It is tough, and there is so much to process. One of the things that is so uplifting from Italy are all of the great stories that we've heard. And I'm sure you saw this, but for those of you watching, there was a story from Italy where they had some kind of an issue with a winery and their pipes burst. And there was a broken plumbing issue. And in 55 houses in northern Italy during the quarantine for 4 hours. If you turn on the taps in their houses or the showers, red wine coming out of the taps in the showers and in the regular faucet, and they were bottling it, and I thought it was a miracle, like water into wine during the quarantine from God himself, and they're bottling it and they're drinking and they're singing, and it was this respite from the quarantine in this northern town in Italy. I'll put the link in here for the article because it's just too fun to read. And anyway, so I've been praying for that to happen here. We haven't gotten it yet, but
I haven't seen that. But to quote my friend Roberto, if I would open up the tap and there'd be red wine, I really
imagine
people who are the fitness and yoga and wellness and happiness coaches that give me inspiration every day. I don't have just one source, and I'm not blowing smoke. You're one of them. Today you posted John's wonderfully done home shot DVD where he's all of a sudden a news reporter with wonderful stories around the world. The Filipinos posted what's going on inside the hospitals. And to see everyone in hazmat suit giving food and care to someone huge and very high risk, huge risk, is so inspirational to me. And to see what's going on in Italy, both within and without our fitness career, it's mind-blowing for me. So I can count my blessings and not my problems.
Well, you have the best attitude, Lawrence, and pandemic or no pandemic, that's always your attitude and your mantra in life. And I love that about you. And that's why you have this huge tribe of people on this live, just loving on you from afar. Like you said, it is not social distancing. It's just physical distancing. We are socially connecting. And so my question for you, question 8 of 10, is what is something from our lives pre-retreat, pre-quarantine, that you do not miss?
I do not miss the tons of spam emails. My spam box is really, really diminished. Number 2, I do not miss the tons of filtered or received spam Chinese calls. Do you remember? You ever get a spam call and it's somebody going off in China, Chinese doing something? Number 3, I do not miss when social media was not sincere. And now that not 9/11, God bless us in New York, I was there and I lost friends.
Were you really?
Not social media 9/11 that leveled the land in the US or North America. This incident, this issue, this concern, this reality has leveled the land across the world. So I love that. I don't miss that social media was, look at me, look what I can do, look what I can afford, look what I can drive, look what I can achieve, look what I can sell, and look what I can airbrush together. Now it's real. And I love that we're posting food and communicating and getting on Zoom or learning Zoom. And we communicating, but really communicating. È vero, che sincero, sincere communication that we do. I don't miss all that fakeness. That's really cool because now that we're all in the same predicament, probably some kind of homebound, we're posting, unless we're going into like blast from the past. And now people have learned you post blast from the past. Otherwise people think you're really on a cruise in Bali right now.
Right. You got to disclaimer that's a throwback. Right. Because people go crazy. If you want to get crucified, post a photo of you in a public place. It's like you want to get your engagement up through the roof negatively. Oh my gosh. Well, so, I mean, I love your Italian accent that snuck in there when you were saying that. I love communicating.
Io non posso parlare spaghetti manicotti, dammi da mangiare, che ho fame. Che vuoi? Un bacio, amore. Sei più bella che ci abbia mai visto.
One of my favorite nights with you, Lawrence, was when we were in Vegas on that rooftop bar at that party, and you were hanging out with 4 of your Italian friends. And my non parlo italiano, parlo inglese. So I practice my Italian, but it's my Italian is like food related and like where's the bathroom, and where's the wine, and I want vino rojo, voso. Wait, hold on. What's red wine? Vino rosso. See. Sì, grazie mille. Anyway, but so my Italian sucks, yours is amazing. But we were on the rooftop and all 4 of you were speaking Italian so quickly. And it was just like listening to a symphony of the most beautiful language. You were crushing it. And it was so cool. But anyway, side note.
All my shyness, I can't imagine. Do you remember when you at Ice Spa in, I guess, Vegas or one of those cities, you came to one of my things that was so honored and I was doing half in English and half in Spanish, and you put it on some live thing, and then iSpa invited me back because, like, oh my God, the bilingual, they were so sweet. It was a 15-minute second stage hub or something, and I did something like, let's problem solve. Do you ever have a client screaming at you? And this girl comes up screaming in Spanish, and I went with it. And then you were like, and then that
oh my gosh. But you being polylingual is so cool. And you were switching back and forth between all these languages. And you speak 4 languages, right? No, you speak Greek, Italian, Spanish, and English?
A little bit of English, yeah.
Connie likes when you speak Italian.
Does that count as one of your questions?
Question
how many languages
9. Oh, yes, question 9 of 10.
Okay.
Oh no, I've lost count with you. I want question like 17 with you because you're my favorite.
You know, every night I have said
Español también, Milagros.
Thank you. From Puerto Rico. Milagros is my vet's wife, and she's my artist of my home and all personal things in my house. Can I tell you, Erin, every night you've told a guest, you're crushing it, by the way, and I haven't heard you say that to me, and I said, I will know by 7:15. If she says you're crushing it, then I can hold my space. You haven't said that to me.
Because I'm so engaged in the moment with you that I'm not even thinking, like I'm not even like away from the conversation, evaluating it. I'm just in the moment with you and wishing that I could give you a huge hug with your adorable face and just squeeze you. Okay, now question 9 of 10. And by the way, you're crushing it. Okay. Yuri says, and French, and wait, seriously, you speak French too? Spanish, no. Russian, French, Greek, Italian?
A little bit of Greek.
Dang. You're the coolest man besides Yuri that I know. Okay, question 9 of 10/9 of 19. Tell us, because you have so many great stories, tell us your favorite. I mean, you have a million of these. You've already shared 3 here tonight, but tell us your favorite good human during these dark times story, whether it's a neighbor, a friend, a client, something you heard on the news, something in your neighborhood and your island, in your circles. What's one? There's so many great stories of people being great people, but tell us one of your most heartwarming stories that made you smile in the last couple of days.
What made me smile in the last couple of days is different from who's my hero. My hero is everyone who wakes up and saying, why did I choose my doctor or nurse career and has to go and do this stuff? And bring that very close to home. Biscuits Vet here in Puerto Rico is Dr. Jorge. And Dr. Jorge, in the beginning, was allowed to open and offer services because medical professional, but he anticipated what the laws would be and put tape and messages on Facebook of how people could come, but they had to be well, or send the pet with someone who was well, and is still treating dogs who are attacked, dogs who need their rabies, dogs who need whatever attention, and cats and pelicans and the other things we have here, like iguanas, without regards to the ability of the people who are coming with their pets to pay. And I love that humanitarian aspect, because when society says you have to follow these rules, he'll stay within those rules. But it makes me smile that he might open a little bit earlier. He might stay a little bit later. He not past curfew, but later than we're open 9 to 12, for example. And he'll make private appointments for people to come to his office, still with physical distancing, but maintain the social connection of knowing how valuable our pets are. Because with no reported cases in dogs and cats, except for some isolated Bronx Zoo big tiger case, right?
Full circle on Tiger King. Keep going. Yes.
Right. We don't have this ability to say, oh, you can't hug a dog, or you can't sleep with your dog, or allow your cat to give you some affection. So he's my inspiration right now, because he keeps going despite the fact that with 2 kids and a wife and other businesses and his own life being completely up in arms, he wakes up and he says, how can I be of service to his clients? And that to me is the definition of hero. Yep. Cheers.
This is to Dr. Jorge. Cheers, Dr. Jorge. He's our hero.
He's my hero, because you know what else he did? Because I don't have a car. My closest friends and everyone watching now knows I don't have a vehicle anywhere I live. 3 islands: Manhattan, Mykonos, and Puerto Rico. And Dr. Jorge, after doing
hashtag tough life. Keep going.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Well,
tough.
I do hashtag Lish, Lish. Life is so hard. I don't own a vehicle. But Dr. Jorge, after doing 3 surgeries yesterday, not injections and thermometer up the ass for the dog or cat.
Yeah.
You know, 3 surgeries, he called and said, I'm going to the grocery store. I don't know when I'll get in because they make us wait outside for physical distancing, but what do you need? And I'll bring it to you. I'm not saying no to that stuff, but I'm not going to ask for superfluous things like alcohol and butter. I told him what I really need that I can stretch out the most. So when someone's given service to everyone else, then he said, I'm in line at the grocery store. What do you need that I can go out of my way and yet bring to you? And we're all doing that all around the world. Your question to me was, who's specific to you? Your hero right now? Dr. Jorge is my hero. Because if somebody gives you at any time in your life that you need, and we think, oh, we're so privileged, we're not hungry. If anyone gives you at any time in your life food, that is the epitome of prince or princess or king or queen, and something that if you ever forget or let slide, shame on us.
Mm-hmm. Cheers to that, Lawrence. So tell us why, I am way going over these questions with you. I'm sorry, you're the first guest.
Liz.
How about this? I didn't say that you're crushing it because you're the first guest I've had that I completely have forgot about the agenda and I'm getting sucked into the Lawrence awesomeness. So that's why I didn't say that. Tell me why, because hunger is a really important cause for you. And that's also there's so many wonderful causes, obviously. I mean, gosh, you could, there's a million causes you want to save, from kids to animals to cancer to all stuff. But hunger is also my number one cause that just makes me like, I just can't get my head around there being hunger in 2020 in these places. It's my number one pain point. And I know with your cookbook, you have Feeding the Hungry on the East Coast, and you just mentioned that again. Is there a reason that is so dear to you that I have never heard before? Because I never really asked you this, I don't think.
Thank you for asking. You might know the story from our conversations in different cities. When I was little, I was over fat and I was very pudgy and couldn't bend over and really find.
I didn't know this.
Easily.
Wow.
Those pictures, people sometimes think it's a publicity stunt. So I have all those pictures on my Facebook if you scroll enough. And then I was anorexic in high school because I had a stepmother who said, do you really want to continue like that? You say you want to be an actor. You say you want to do work with people and you want to be a teacher looking like that. Maybe you should lose a couple pounds. And it was the very first time ever that someone in my family, because I was always called sissy and fat, but I looked at myself and I felt such shame. I remember where I was sitting in relation to her on my right on a plane. But careful the tale you tell, to quote Stephen Sondheim, because that is the spell. And it stays with you your entire life. You tell a girl she's pretty on Sunday Mass dress, and she like remembers it for 5 seconds. You tell a child he's ugly or fat or gay or both, and you remember it for the rest of your life. So I stopped eating in high school. And then I learned through therapy, how do you balance the feeding of emotions or the stuffing of what you feel empty with the rest of your life, and going to bed for 4 years of high school, visual learner, 4 years of high school with stomach acids just burning up your esophagus because you have had a peanut in the last 24 hours.
Oh my God.
Realize that if I ever overcome this, I don't want anyone for any reason, at least not through a mental disease, which is anorexia, go to bed hungry. So that's why food is Maslow's hierarchy, bare necessity.
Yeah.
Child trafficking, analfabetismo in Spanish, which is illiteracy, and child drugs and saying no, all that stuff are great causes. Mine is, do you go to bed physically satisfied so tomorrow you can be of service? You cannot serve tea if your teapot is empty. Put your own oxygen mask on first. Here's mine, right? Wine. But you got to take care of yourself first. So I learned that this is how I'm going to give back. Make sure if I can do anything to make sure no one goes to bed hungry, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to write some stuff and try to help people stay connected through their emotions. So you are not, it's not what you're eating or not eating when you have any kind of food issue. It's what's eating at you. So you solve that, or you work with that. Not that ever anything is solved, and then you move forward, right?
Yeah.
I think that
Lawrence,
it's about emotions, not about food.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. I mean, talk about just peeling back the layers and being brave enough to be vulnerable with that story. That is not an easy story to tell. And I know that there are people watching this broadcast that feel the way that I do, which is honored that you have peeled back that layer, because we all have a story from that time in our life, whether it was food or body issues or questions about being loved, questions about being good enough, questions about being beautiful enough. That is such a hard time for so many people. And so I know that story touched a lot of people. And I think that, you know, when we think about the children right now in the midst of this retreat, as you call it, in the middle of this pandemic, you know, there is maybe for some kids that are being bullied in school. I mean, I know when I was in 6th grade, I was bullied so much. And if someone told me I didn't have to go to school for a couple of months, I'd be thrilled. And so maybe there's some kind of a relief going on for some of the children that are in a tough stage right now, you know? So, I mean, it's just interesting. This journey for everyone means so many different things. And I think you sharing that has really touched a lot of people. So thank you for saying that.
You are kind. Say that you
So let's talk. Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time. Well, because, you know, we're speakers and we have a lot of opinions. And when you're a woman and you have a lot of opinions and you're in a Irish Catholic son gets the farm machismo family culture, your opinions aren't really applauded as much as the next fella. You know, so you got to work through some things, which is why I play lacrosse. I can hit people. Okay.
Thank you. One of the reasons why I support my nuns who taught me 12 and 6 are still alive, and all the place they go to retire because they get no money from the government because they're religious affiliation, even though they take in other people of any denomination and men. I want to say that they helped me when I was getting bullied. I'd be in the schoolyard being knocked down and ready to be beaten, and they would come out with the bell or the clicker or both and say, Biscontini, we need you in our office immediately. And everyone thought that was such a great thing because before they descended on me, I was going to get it worse by the nuns. They would invite me then to their home and we had tea. But that was their way of sheltering me and saving me from years of bullying. That was 8 years of Catholic school.
And they were pouring from a full teapot. They were pouring into your cup so you could pour into others later in life. That's so beautiful.
You remember the people that saved you.
Totally. We both have good nun stories, and I appreciate you sharing that because, you know, whether you are a teacher, whether you're homeschooling right now and you are trying to teach middle school math, and thank God for wine, or whether you are an actual teacher, and we've seen so many great things on the news about the thing that I shared with you with John Kaczynski with the lineup of teachers having that parade driving through and waving to everyone. And I saw there was one thing on that news broadcast. If you haven't seen it, I'll put the link here in the comments, but about that teacher that showed up at his student's house and was on a whiteboard showing them how to do their math homework through the door of the kid's house because they couldn't figure out their math problems. I mean, there are some beautiful stories about how we learn and how we teach. And to your point, things that happen to us at those ages, man, they stick with us. So if you are that person and you are impacting someone, thank you so much, because that one little moment that to you might have meant nothing. This person could be Lawrence's age, my age, and they are still grateful for it. So keep on showing up in that way. It's a big important mission. So I would say to wrap up, we have so many great comments. A lot of people saying they were bullied as well. That's a
really?
Yeah.
I'd get involved in reading, but then I would be.
No, you're good. I got you.
Erin, do you remember when we used to say, and I'm sure there are times in your life, I hope there were, where you said, oh, I wish the weekend would last forever because it's so magical. Well, you kind of got your wish, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is like an extended weekend. And do you remember the times in our lives when we were like, the whole world was like so worried about romaine lettuce?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my God.
Oh my God. I can sleep well tonight knowing I made you really laugh. Remember that scare? Oh my God, salad in America. Oh, it's going to Canada. It's coming from Canada. It's going to Mexico. Really? Not so much now. We're not so much worried about all that stuff about the weekends and the lettuce. And then everything is a perspective, right? Like I remember last year there was this huge Ben Greenfield, and so many people are talking about vaccines. Oh, pro, con. What about vaccines? The dangers of vaccines. And everybody, oh, no, you don't have to, maybe. And then now everybody's dying for a vaccine, right? Everything is perspective. Two people look out through the same prison bars. One looks at the mud, but the other on the stars. It's funny how reality changes what we think is good. And it's true.
It's so true. During the romaine lettuce epidemic, which is hilarious to bring up, by the way, one of my girlfriends texted me. She wrote, I swear to God, if I die from eating salad, I'm going to be so pissed.
And now we're saying, oh my God, I'm so careful in my life and I'm such a control A freak. If I die from touching my face, I'm going to be so pissed.
Oh my God. Well, it's so true. Oh my God. People have so many stories about the nuns. Gosh, the nuns, they play such a big role, don't they? So everyone's saying this made their day. So I think what we'll do is we'll wrap up while we're on a high with our lettuce joke, which was amazing. I would say, I know you have so many of these, Lawrence, to share, but for everyone that's watching that perhaps is feeling lonely, feeling sad, feeling uncertain, we're all on this roller coaster. And there are certain hours of the day where we're like, we got this. It's okay. We're good. And then you see that one news article or hear from someone, a friend that's experiencing this coronavirus stuff firsthand, and you think to yourself, wow, this is real. It's a ride, and we're all on this crazy ride. Now, people that are at the bottom of the roller coaster or are having a dark moment or maybe by themselves quarantining, they don't have a biscuit, they don't have a Yuri, they don't have a Hartman. What is a mantra or a piece of advice that you can share from your hugely overflowing well of inspiration that maybe they can take with them tonight if they find themselves kind of going to that dark place?
We have come from something greater than we are. So let's remember to trust in something greater than we are. That's my advice. If it's a mantra, the definition of mantra has to be another language. So a sound like Om or On Mane Padme Hum or something like that. But my motto, my message is teach only love, for that is what we are, which is Course in Miracles. And whenever you want to react instead of respond, I remember, try. Teach only love, send forth love, respond with love, for that is what we are. But your question was about the person on the bottom right now and really feeling a black day. And my answer is, we're made by something higher than we. So let's remember to trust in something higher than we. This too shall pass, maybe like a kidney stone, but this too shall pass. And we trust. I made you laugh a second time. I'm so excited. Then this thing will, we got this. And every speaker on your series so far has said, you got this. Yes, you. We have this. We do. If you don't have faith, what do you have? Because you can't measure or buy or social trade faith. And for the person who might be feeling, I'm not really sure where my faith is right now, trust in the people and go to the people and talk to the people who have faith, because that might help.
Thank you, Lawrence Biscontini. You are a light, and this has been the most fun I've had all day, and hopefully everyone feels the same way. Salute.
Thank you. Cheers. Here's to the shit show of America and the world being held and glued together by alcohol.
And here is to not social distancing, physical distancing, and social connectivity.
Absolutely. That's the book. Digital Persuasion on Amazon and other sources.
Well, listen, if you guys, I have so many messages from my friends that are asking, how do I not know this incredible man, Lawrence Biscontini? If you would like to follow him and his gorgeous dog, go to @findbiscuit, BISKIT on the gram, or @findlawrence on Instagram for more of this beautiful soul's everyday musings. So Lawrence, I adore you. Thank you for sharing your heart with us. I know I feel lighter. It might be you, it might be the wine, it might be a combo, but regardless, I am so thankful for you sharing your spirit, and I can't wait to see you in person so I can give you a big, huge hug.
I'm honored. Thank you for sharing your time with me and inviting me to be a guest. There are more things that are contagious than just a virus, like enthusiasm and love. Let's remember that.
And thank God that lettuce is again able to be eaten. I love you, Lawrence. Take care, my friend. Give that gorgeous dog a big kiss. Bye, honey.